right, we're ready to get started. To start out with, it would be helpful if we could see how many people in the audience are merchants so we can cater the conversation. Just raise your hand if you're a merchant. Okay, and then how many of you are affiliates? Okay, good. And then are there any agencies? Okay. Okay, so welcome to Beat the Competition with the Right Tools. Let's do an introduction first of all. We'll start out with Max.
Sure, my name's Max Teitelbaum. I co-founded WhatRunsWhere.com. We do competitive advertising intelligence for display and mobile media. I started working in this industry almost 10 years ago when I was 15 years old as an affiliate, and did that for a while. And out of that, we built WhatRunsWhere over a need that we had. We bought a fair amount of display media, and then over the past 4 years, I've helped run and grow WhatRunsWhere into what it is today.
I'm Lori Weiman. I'm the CEO of the Search Monitor, and we're an ad monitoring platform. We crawl the internet looking for ads like on search engines or shopping engines, and pulling data about what advertisers are up to. We started this business about 7 years ago as an offshoot from the original company. It was doing campaign bid management on Google and Yahoo back in 2005, 2006. And there was some information that was missing, which we'll go over throughout this presentation today, but basically on the competitive landscape, really studying the competition and seeing how you can learn from what your competitors are doing to try to make your campaign stronger or make changes and adjustments to the things that you do. And so from that, we formed the Search Monitor to give our clients insights into what's going on with competitive advertising.
So I'm Greg Shepard. I'm the CEO of Affiliate Traction. So Affiliate Traction is the largest, oldest, and only global affiliate marketing agency in the world. And we are about 17 years old. And so we'll go ahead and get started here. So we did the introductions, and you met us. I think I was supposed to change those slides as we go, so forgive me on that. Affiliates are competitive. So here's some data that talks about the affiliates and how competitive they are in terms of the market share and what's going on there. This is really powerful, and if you pay attention to what's happening, you look and you see that there's definitely been a change in two streams of data. So you have two routes. One route is branding and the other route is revenue. So if you're doing branding, you're not caring so much about ROAS and that sort of thing, but you still care about what your competitors are, where they're being seen. And if you're doing revenue, then you care more about where you're making money and what kind of return you're getting. I'm going to go ahead and move into the general stats from Black Friday. And Lori, I think you have a really good play on this.
Yeah, so obviously these are from last year's top selling day on the web, but it gives you a good vision for how big things are. I mean, I think we all know that, and that's why we're in the business, but it's nice to actually see it quantified. So you can see just brick and mortar was up 2.3% from the year before, but then you look at how much online sales were up from the prior year, and it's magnitudes higher. So Cyber Monday was 16% difference from 2012 in overall sales for everybody. And then mobile, 34% big jump. And I think we all know that we're going to continue to see that grow as we go forward into 2014 and 2015, because we're seeing like half of searches coming from mobile now. It's just a matter of time before people start buying when they see something more often from their device rather than from their desktop. So that's a big, huge hike there too.
Yeah, so competitive central intelligence, having the ability to look and see what your competitors are doing, obviously plays a hand in your ongoing efforts. And so her perspective is very unique in terms of what it's looking at with regards to search. As we know, a lot of data happens in the search field. And on the other hand, Max's perspective looks at where people are doing other forms of advertising. So these two panelists give you sort of the two major perspectives. Max, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. I mean, I guess the point of all this is that although there's some stall of growth in the display advertising industry in general, as there are different types of advertising, like native advertising and mobile advertising, that start to pick up steam. Online advertising is growing rapidly, and be it even if you're a vendor or an affiliate or an agency, you guys are on the sort of forefront of where digital technology is going. There are a lot of large established old agencies that still deal in print and still deal in radio and things like that. So being able to take advantage of that by analyzing the competitive landscape and bringing your own unique spin and perspective to what's going on in this growing industry, there's a huge opportunity for growth, profit, and expansion of your businesses.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of changes in terms of, as I said before, the terminology between doing display advertising for branding and doing display advertising for creating revenue, as well as, sort of looking at affiliate and determining now that affiliate isn't a way of doing advertising, but a way of paying for advertising. If somebody's willing to do it on performance, they're an affiliate, so long as the transaction's happening on the merchant's website. And this has changed this dramatically in terms of what part of this business belongs to our side of the world and what part of this business belongs to the other side of the world. So affiliate marketing, why is it so competitive? So Max, you want to start out with that?
Sure. I mean, consumers spend more when they buy things through affiliates. I mean, it's just because when you buy something through an affiliate, usually there's a pre-sale of some kind involved. As an affiliate or as somebody that's advertising, you want somebody to complete a transaction because usually that's when you get paid. So you're going to put a bit more effort into it versus, let's say that I'm buying shoes. If I just go to Nike's website and buy a pair of shoes, I might buy a pair of shoes versus if I go to a landing page or something tailored or an ad that tells me why this pair of Nike shoes is the greatest thing ever, I need to spend an extra $100 on the pair of shoes. Probably going to do that.
Yeah, and if you look at the clickstream data surrounding affiliates versus other transactions, which is where some of this data comes from, you look at the introducer, the influencer, and the closer, and if you look at in affiliate transactions, there's more people involved in the consumer's process to making a purchase. The consumer is getting convinced more and more throughout the process through things that look like even references, blogs, and other stuff, instead of just a consumer going to a shopping portal and pricing out the cheapest item and then buying it there. There's a process of convincing the consumer, and when they get convinced, then they spend more money. And I think some of this is transparent in some of the data that you look at too, as far as looking at competitors across the board.
Right, that's true.
On the other level, we look at online shopping through affiliate referrals are 43% more likely to convert. Again, some of the same data, and maybe Laura, you can speak to that.
Well, it's really, I think Max covered it very well because you've been pre-sold essentially. You may start a search on Google for something as a consumer. Hopefully the next step is that you wound up at an informational type of content-laden website that explained a lot about the types of products that you were looking for, and at that point then you're able to make a buying decision. And I think that's the ready point. The consumer's at the ready point there, and that's when they're also on that landing page. It's an affiliate landing page, so it's a great time for buying because you're informing and providing a lot of content around what the consumer wants to buy. And that's why you're seeing these kinds of numbers.
And merchants, on average, see a 23% of total online sales coming from the affiliate channel. And this is drastic. If you look back, 15 years ago, maybe I'm aging myself. If you go back 10 years ago and look at what these numbers used to be as compared to what they are now, you see sort of some of the trending in terms of, the whole affiliate marketing industry turning into a way of paying for advertising versus a way of doing advertising. And you look at the data and how important it is to look at competitive data to understand what affiliates you can change, that you can turn from a CPM or CPC affiliate into somebody that works on performance and it be better for both parties. I don't know if either one of you guys want to talk about that. I think it's just compounding more and more of this. But the top affiliate marketing niches, I think this is really exciting. Laura, I remember you talked about this in Las Vegas a little bit really well.
Yeah, I think this is Max's slide.
Oh, it's Max's side.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Max.
I mean,
Sorry.
this is sort of what we're seeing on the display side. in terms of where people are spending their ad dollars or major ad dollars outside of brands. So of course, when you're looking at display advertising, you're going to see large brands, be it Allstate or Expedia or whoever, spending money to generate brand awareness so that when you think, where am I going to get car insurance, you think Allstate. But in terms of direct response, the 6 biggest places we see direct response are health and wellness. So that isn't necessarily diet. We segment that out, but that can be make yourself look younger, make yourself look more beautiful, and a range of other types of offers there. Diet, of course, is huge. There's more regulation that goes in, but it seems every time a new regulation goes into place, the number of advertisers multiply. I'm sure some of you in here are attributing to that. Education, so places like University of Phoenix, DeVry, all those places that I know, at least I might age myself, but when I was a little bit younger, we always made jokes because we saw the ads up all the time, but they're real schools and they're huge businesses with real classes, and they do a ton of advertising. It's all direct response focused. Auto insurance, again, huge segment, online gaming, and then dating. So there's a ton of direct response dating, be it if you buy ads from Plenty of Fish or buy it from general media to send to other dating sites. It's a huge source of revenue.
So the data that he just gave is really important because what their company does, what you do is you put in your domain name or your competitor's domain name. It tells you everywhere they're doing advertising within seconds. So you can see everywhere they're getting their traffic from. So he has in his head a combination of all kinds of situations like this where everybody is doing advertising and combining the data and coming up with that list of 6. So it doesn't look like much up there, but if you're interested in going after different verticals, I would suggest that you take that very seriously. Did you get your picture? You're all set. Okay. The top 5 verticals. So again, really valuable information, and a lot of this is actually more retail.
This one's mine.
I mixed them up. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So what we're looking at here is what verticals do you see the most affiliate activity on, which is pretty important. So you can see how competitive it is if you are an affiliate and you're trying to compete against other affiliates and also merchants. It's nice to know what you're up against. So starting from the far left, apparel has the highest percentage of affiliates on search, and footwear has the highest percentage out of that. So if you can, on the left-hand side of that blue bar, it says footwear 24%. So 24% of the ads that we see running across footwear are coming from affiliate advertisers. And then some of this mirrors what Max is seeing in display, and so it's going to be a little bit different. Home and garden, hobbies and leisure, and we broke out like scale models, which is probably a tiny space for affiliates, but it's 15% of the overall amount of ads seen are coming from an affiliate. Sports and fitness, and then beauty actually crosses over the segmentation that you were talking about with health and wellness is a beauty category, with perfume having 11%. So within a category, a broad category, you actually could, beauty at 7% of ads having affiliates, with perfume kind of more. So it's not just important to look at the big vertical, but if you're representing, I know when we did the show of hands, there were a lot of affiliates in the room. If you're not doing competitive intelligence, you should be, because it's nice to look at overall numbers, also indexing numbers to see how you compare against others, and then things that are more specific, like other competitors that you really want to look in more tightly, and we'll talk about that as we get through this. But here we're looking at a bigger, broad brush at a high level, and it's nice to know, where do you stand? I mean, if you were new and you were getting into this industry today, which some people might be, you probably maybe would be a little bit worried about getting into an affiliate program that's for footwear because it's pretty saturated. Maybe you want to start somewhere else that's a little bit less saturated, and someplace that you can make a difference, where you can make a difference.
Yeah, and it's true also that if you look at some of these verticals and product verticals, you also notice that electronics is not on here. And it's very interesting because everybody's always pointing to electronics as one of the highest percentages of overall sales. But the fact of the matter is, in the U.S. anyway, you have very limited opportunities, meaning limited merchants to work through if you're an affiliate. So in electronics, most of the business is being done by Apple, Dell, Best Buy. You have very limited numbers of opportunities, whereas in footwear or apparel, you've got hundreds. if not thousands, of different companies. Those companies are all driving traffic. Those companies are all trying to create brand. They're all getting in front of consumers. So there's more opportunities to be successful in some of the verticals that you're ignoring because you're paying attention to the verticals that are creating most of the online revenue. You know, it's a common mistake for affiliates to look and say, oh, and they look at the internet retailer, vertical chart, and they go, oh, electronics is doing the majority of the volume. Well, there's only a few players. So you're competing with a lot of affiliates in very few opportunities. These, however, offer a lot of opportunities, which is why that data displays that way. It lines up perfectly with the number of merchants there are in each one of those verticals. Merchant rules, this is interesting.
Yeah,
Larry.
so one of the things so a lot of our clients are working with us because they want to watch their affiliates. If you're an affiliate, you probably already know this. You might have even gotten some reports from the Search Monitor. So there's affiliate program rules that need to be complied with so that there's channel conflict doesn't happen. So that search teams and affiliate teams work well together instead of butting heads when they're advertising on the same channel, and that's why those rules are in place. And so this chart really illustrates how well I think we're doing as an industry working together. So the far left are affiliates that are in compliance on search with program rules, and going all the way to the right where we see folks that aren't behaving correctly. So it's 72% of the industry is doing a great job. That other 18% is not, and it could be lack of communication between the merchant and the affiliate. It could be just it makes money, so we keep doing it. But it's important to know that on both sides, on the merchant side, affiliates are trying to make a living. On the affiliate side, the merchant has rules in place so that they can create ROI for themselves. And if those rules are broken, there's a butting of heads that happens between multiple teams that aren't working well together. So this chart really illustrates that, and that's why clients come to us to monitor the search space to make sure that everybody's working well together, because that makes everybody more money.
And a lot of times it's very interesting at Affiliate Traction, we'll be explaining to the affiliates the different rules regarding compliance, and they will get sometimes upset about the fact that those rules are in place, but what they don't realize is that actually is for them. Because you as an affiliate, if you get a search policy exception from a merchant to do search, and 5 other affiliates are doing search as well, that policy exception doesn't serve you very well. So that protection is also for you as an affiliate, not just for the client and their own search team. There's a common misunderstanding there. For those that are legitimate, it benefits you. And then the other thing is, it's very interesting, is that it's not necessarily, the overall affiliate, the company itself. It could be somebody that works there, and a lot of times it's a mistake. And, there are situations where, you have to be understanding about it. But overall, this is another thing that shows how competitive it is. Because if it wasn't competitive, you wouldn't have these scenarios where people are getting really, that 18% is really out on a limb trying to compete against everybody else. But overall, if you're a merchant, 72% is a pretty high number. And if you look at the other industries, even if you're a manufacturer and you look at resellers, or if you're doing media buys, you have traffic blending, false impressions, false clicks, cookie stuffing. There's a lot of stuff that happens on the display side that's 10 times. I mean, that's a really good number. So affiliate is definitely the safest channel. I just plugged that for everybody. You're welcome. Case studies on competitive intelligence and how it makes a difference. Walmart versus Target on PPC spending. Lori.
This must be me again.
Yes, this is.
Before we get into this, I would love to know how many folks in the audience are actually doing competitive monitoring? Show of hands. So roughly,
I think there's one in the surface of the sun over
roughly
there.
1 person. 3 out of 20. So this chart right here, to me, I want to spend some time on it because it really explains why you should be doing this. Target and Walmart, they're fierce competitors. Can we all agree on that? This is what their spend patterns look like last fall through the holiday season. So starting in August when you're dealing with back to school, and then through September, and then again through Black Friday. The bottom line is Target, and the red line is Target, the blue line is Walmart. And you can see this is search. Their strategies were completely different and you can think about this. Why would they do this? Target spent a lot of money in August for back to school, but then completely stopped being involved with search for several months leading up to November, where Thanksgiving, and then we've got the big holiday push. You can see they maybe what they were doing was like a squirrel, right? They stocked up on all the nuts, and then November, December came, and they went for it, and they spent a lot of money. Whereas Walmart was more steady throughout, and then they took a big dip during when we would all expect this is the biggest time of year. Why did they do that? We don't know the answers. We're just presenting the information. But if you don't know the competitive landscape, you wouldn't have seen an opportunity here. And there was a big opportunity here. Actually, when I look at this chart, I think Walmart sort of maybe could have done a better job because they were steady all along. And then when Target took this big shoot up, it actually pushed them downwards. And why is that? They could have maybe maintained more of a steady flow and not gone dip down. So if you aren't doing competitive intelligence, just this one chart alone should convince you that it's important, because look where there was opportunities missed. Target didn't realize what Walmart was doing. I can tell that just by looking at this. Walmart didn't realize what Target was doing. They head-to-head compete on pretty much every keyword that you can search for on Bing and Google. They're both there.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, if you would have saw that coming, you would have been able to take advantage of that. You wonder if Target saw that coming.
Yeah,
and
squirreled away all the money.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
So, I mean, sorry to go back there for one quick second, another important thing that may be a little bit more relatable is to people that are just individual affiliates as well, is when you see a major advertiser take a dip like that, it means that there's a void in the marketplace. So they're not spending ad dollars, things will be cheaper. So when I was an affiliate, I was, fairly lucky that the recession hit when it did, because people stopped spending money on advertising. When people stop spending money on advertising, I mean, the rates that you saw and were able to buy, you couldn't get anymore because they were so cheap. Brands weren't putting the same amount of money into it, but you can still find that inside little microcosms by looking at trends. So if you can see that major player in terms of a space has stopped spending, well, there's some opportunity there. If you were, when they were spending, if you were just on the line of being profitable or making money, well, now you might want to try again, because everything's going to be a little bit cheaper because there's a void where their money used to be.
Yeah, that's very interesting because, the market's changed a lot. A long time ago, it was that you would deal with a media buyer who would call the publisher directly, and those two would work out a deal. And then over time, it started out where they started to put their remnant inventory into these exchanges. And then now, all those people are not there anymore, and the exchanges are doing the work. And people are buying all their inventory through the exchanges and doing arbitrage in the affiliate channel. So using this data to look at what you should be purchasing in terms of timing, and then what you should be purchasing in terms of what sort of analytics you're getting from the performance of what you are running, tells you what to buy and when to buy. Those two being obviously the most important things. So good point, Max. I think, Laura,
yeah, this is me.
This is all you.
This is me again. So this is just a strategy that works really well. Some of you probably are already involved with this, being a super affiliate where you have special search rights or carved out rights. It works great for brand terms. Like here we're looking at, this is an old screenshot from, I think, when we did this in January, but it still holds true today. So we're looking at AT&T broadband as the keyword. One of the strategies that is deployed in telecom is to have a reseller network, basically affiliates, of a short list of resellers, maybe 5 or 6. They're allowed to brand bid. They're allowed to use the brand name in their URL. They're allowed to use the brand name in their ad copy, and the marketer here, being AT&T, controls a lot of what's said. They control the offers that are being put out there, and they also control where each advertiser is ranked. So someone might have rights for rank 2, another have rights for rank 3, and by doing this for AT&T as the merchant, it's been really good for them, because then they can own a keyword. They can basically look at keyword as real estate, and owning as much components of the search result page as you can is going to get you more clicks and more business. And so if you think of it in terms of that, on the paid search side, there's 10 houses that you could own, or if you want to, each one's a house, and so you want to get all of the tenants in the houses that are yours, and that's basically what they're doing here. And it's a really effective strategy.
It's the same for almost any channel. So be it, we'll branch out, but be it social, be it PPV or display or mobile. The first time, what we'll call is, your first impression is going to be the most expensive because it's the first exposure that the consumer gets when they go to the page. If it's above the fold, so if it's above what what above the fold means, if you don't know, is pretend that you have a newspaper. It's where the fold in the newspaper would be. So above the fold would be what's on your screen when you first load the page. That's going to be more expensive, but the rest of the inventory on the page or the rest of the impressions are still valuable, but just less so. So if you can figure out how to, if a brand's buying, you see a brand buying a lot somewhere, if you can buy a couple impressions down the line when they're browsing, maybe that's a good thing for you to test because they've already had exposure to what that brand's selling, and then you can swoop in and close that deal for them with your more persuasive ad copy.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of clients do that where they sort of bundle with the affiliates, and it's very popular for clients to do surgery with an axe and just drop all their paid search and restrict everything. It's not the right thing to do because a lot of times the affiliates are better than the merchant, and in a lot of cases the agency they're using moonlights as an affiliate, so it's the same person except for you're not paying a fee. So in a lot of cases, this sort of a strategy where you work in partnership with the affiliate, I think is, I mean, I totally agree with you guys. This is a great strategy. Understanding the affiliate marketing competitive landscape, the top 5 competitive questions. Are affiliates and merchants working cohesively? PageRank, messaging.
So this kind of fits hand in hand with the one we just saw where we know AT&T it's doing a good job working cohesively. Someplace where we think when we're looking at PLAs, product listing ads on Google and other search engines that have shopping listings, it's a great opportunity to work hand in hand between the merchant and the affiliate. So if the two sides are having a nice conversation, you could imagine that the merchant could own the PLA portion of the page and allow the affiliates maybe more rights on the paid search side, so that both parties have equal presence on the page. It really gives much better reach for the merchant, and it allows the affiliate to have some pretty nice keywords on the page search side to make their programs work well.
Yeah, it's interesting too because a lot of the merchants are quick to judge coupon affiliates or discounts in any way, codes, voucher codes or whatever on either side, yet they're okay with doing price comparison engines where the result is effectively the same except for there's no obstacle for the consumer. So you have on one side the consumer has to get a code and try to enter it in. On the other side they could just quickly in seconds list and see whatever's cheapest. And cooperating, getting the two to cooperate, allows those consumers to choose their preference in which way they want to go about it, and giving you the exposure in that clickstream to be part of that decision-making process.
Number 2, so what are competitors' affiliates doing that is working well for them? So we talk about competitive monitoring. It's not just about monitoring Target and Walmart, but Target and Walmart should also be looking at each other's affiliates that are also marketing on the search channel or whatever the channel is, whether it be display or search, because you don't want to just look at the main brand, right? You want to look at all of the affiliates, because when you think about it's the strength of the visibility of Walmart isn't just Walmart alone, but it's Walmart plus all of its affiliates. And so how big is that? Target plus all of its affiliates, how big is that? And then they can start to judge and see, do we have a strong enough affiliate program? Should we put more resources there? Where should we be spending more attention? Maybe we're weak on the affiliate side because of things like Greg's been talking about, taking that axe and chopping the affiliates off the search channel, maybe hurting them because one of their competitors now has grown stronger in that way. So it's important to not just look at your head-to-head competitors, but also the affiliates that they're working with as well.
Yeah, I think definitely the merchants that we've seen over the last 17 years, the big merchants that are really effectively utilizing their affiliate channel, it's positioning the affiliates as partners to help with a unified approach to competing against their competitors. A lot of times they'll cut the affiliate channel, and then the competitor will pick up that affiliate, and then that affiliate will bid on the keywords anyway. So you end up with the same situation, except you don't have the net gain. So for merchants, it's really important to really analyze and decide if that's the right approach.
Number 3, so you want to look at, if as a merchant, you want to see who's beating you, and also as an affiliate on your best keywords. So you always want to keep watching the landscape. When you're going into your planning meetings or your day-to-day AdWords account review, you can't look at it in a vacuum as only looking at yourself. You're never running a race alone. You're always competing with someone else, and that competition is driving up your cost per click, is taking clicks away from you, is lowering your click-through rate and in turn your quality score. So you really need to focus and look and see on your top keywords, who else is there? Were they there yesterday? Were they there last week? What are the trends with my CPCs and click-through rates? And do I notice anything weird happening? And then start looking at the data to find out why. Why are these things happening? A common question that will get asked is, can you help us figure out why our cost per click just skyrocketed? And most of the time, the information is right there in front of us. It's that there's additional advertisers that are new to the market. They hadn't been there before. Have just started bidding against our clients on these keywords, and they either don't know what they're doing, and so they're causing market changes and market shifts, or just too much competition for everyone wanting to be in the top 3. So creating these problems.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a blip, right? Like the guy doesn't know what he's doing. He comes on until he runs out of money.
Yeah,
and then yeah. So if a smart retailer sometimes just sits there and waits for the guy to run out of money, and then comes back on the scene, but also working with the affiliates, so they're, instead of them being competitors, they're friends instead of foes. Yeah.
It really helps control the universe. If the affiliates and the merchants work together, you can actually try to control the entire marketplace. And by marketplace, I mean CPCs. If you can control the CPCs, everyone else will make more money. So how do you avoid channel conflict across affiliates and between your SEM teams and your affiliate teams? And there's just a couple tips here, like exclusive offer codes are nice. How many of you use exclusive offer codes in things that you do now? Anybody? Yep. So, I mean, those are helpful. And then obviously that has to be a little bit policed, so that if you have an exclusive offer code, someone that's not allowed to use it isn't, because that kind of ruins the idea of being exclusive. Direct linking isn't always bad. So that's when direct linking is when the affiliate doesn't maintain a website. It will promote the merchant directly on a Google search result and link through an affiliate link and then land on the merchant's website. It's not always a bad thing. Direct linking can fill in a lot of gaps for merchants where they may have a weak search program or where they don't want to spend money. Maybe there's long tail terms where the merchant doesn't want to be focusing their search campaigns. Then allowing affiliates to do direct linking can be a big benefit there. So that's really helpful.
Yeah, we've seen that where, there's a separate agency or an in-house team doing the search, and the affiliate is allowed to do it for just an A/B split test, and then they find out that actually the affiliate's producing way better results for a lot of reasons. One is they get to choose how much they pay. They pay after instead of before the sale. They don't pay for returns or canceled orders, and they can control what they can and can't do. So if it's handled correctly, then the merchant can actually have more money up front to spend because the affiliate's fronting the money on the front end and the merchant's paying after reconciliations at the end of the month with the money that they received from the income. So it actually allows a bridge for cash flow to actually invest more money than you have in advertising if done correctly.
The last one is, how do I manage my reputation on paid search? So this is more directed towards the merchants or agencies in the audience who are representing merchants. You want to make sure that if you have an offer code that's expired, you pull those down, or you get your affiliates to pull those down. Make sure the wording in ad copy text is consistent with any kind of promotion that you're running or how you want your product presented. And landing page copy is also important. Making sure that the offers and things that are being said are obviously truthful and exactly the way that you want your products represented.
Right, and looking at the data with regards to exclusive codes, user-based content has a lot to do with things, right? So a lot of sites have the ability for a user to go put in a code, and the affiliate doesn't necessarily know that a user put in a code that was exclusive to a different affiliate, and they're actually making sales now for the other affiliate. So heavily watch that.
So on the display side, I'm going to go a little bit quicker because I know that we're going to run out of time at some point. I want to let you guys ask whatever questions you have or want to ask. So the first question is, who am I competing on? in my niche on the display networks, and it may not be who you think. You're not only competing with the other people running within your vertical, but you're competing with anybody buying that inventory on that website. So if you're buying on, let's say, Lori's blog, I may be competing against two other health and wellness advertisers, but I'm also competing against Target or Best Buy or whoever else is buying inventory there, be it purposefully or not. So understanding who's buying period on a specific placement or specific site, if it's large enough, is extraordinarily important in tandem with who am I competing against in terms of my direct competitive set. What are my competitors' top performing display ads? I don't love to plug what we do, but I will a little bit. We've come up with internal proprietary scores at WhatRunsWhere called ad strength and prevalence, which sort of try and help you do this. You can tell if something's been running for a long time. We've seen it a lot. It's been running a lot in the short term. There's probably a reason why. Only a complete idiot lets something run and spend a ton of money without seeing any kind of return. Even the worst advertiser in the world at some point has a loss threshold that they'll pull it down on. So if we see something that's been running for a ton of time, has been running a lot recently, and has ran a lot period, it's probably doing pretty well and something to take note of when you're actually looking at your competitive strategy. And then it's not about stealing something, but it's saying what piece of these ads are worth testing within my own advertising or ad copy. What ad networks are my competitors using? So there are a ton of different ad networks out there. We monitor over 100 on the display side and about 100 on the mobile side as well. And a lot of them share inventory because they get from the same supply side places, but which ones your competitors are using are important. I'll tell you guys a little secret that not a lot of people know. On a lot of the programmatic exchanges for large brands, there are sort of unwritten rules that exist, where there are bid floors set on certain sites. So even if you're bidding on those sites, you won't get inventory unless you bid a certain amount. And you may say that's not fair. It's simple. They have a direct sales channel that this competes with when you buy through programmatic exchanges. And you need to match that if you want to take inventory away from them. So understanding that, understanding what networks have what inventory available, and then what you need to pay there is extraordinarily important, as well as if they're buying heavily through a network you're not, you might want to go give them a call and see if you can try and buy some of that inventory, because they may have an exclusive deal with that publisher to get some of their better inventory rather than, say, remnant inventory. So where are my competitors placing their ads? It's lovely that we run a service called WhatRunsWhere. We show you exactly where your competitors are placing your ads in terms of the list, but if you want to do it without a competitive intelligence service, browsing around the web, writing down every place where you see one of your competitors' ads is a good way to start. You'll start to compile a short list of sites. It's a lot of work, and you can waste a lot of time, but understanding where their ads are placed are important, and then combine that with the other metrics gives you a good idea of any advertiser's overall strategy, and then being able to dissect that and take pieces out of that and bring it into your own strategy is where really the return comes. And then how can I make my display ads more click-worthy than my competitors? This is where you don't copy them, you take inspiration and you combine different sections and different elements of different people's ads to find a better ad. So you continually split test. You split test in ugly ads versus pretty ads. You pull different words and different ways of saying things. And you look at people outside of your actual industry as well. So it's really easy if you're a dating affiliate, let's say, to get focused on dating ads from all the different dating companies. But if you look at what somebody else is doing in another one of those major verticals, they may have a different way of presenting information or a different call to action that may work for them that nobody in your industry has split tested or thought of. It's sort of insular like that. So bring different ideas and copy into your own ads can yield a huge return on investment.
So you're saying that with the buying desk that you're actually in some of these cases competing with their own media buyers,
Yeah, oh,
and that
absolutely.
they're
Well,
holding back some of the
well,
inventory at a certain price for those guys?
No, it's more if you're New York Times and you're able to sell inventory at $10 CPM, you don't want that. You don't want that same advertiser being able to go buy it on
At
a
that
buying
same price.
desk at $2, so they'll hold it back. But that's a good point. And then the other thing to note is that a lot of these display networks do have internal teams that are affiliates themselves, and you're competing against them as well. And I'll get into that about barriers to entry. But
So how are affiliate marketers using search and display advertising to boost the sales of their affiliates? Let's start with display here.
So display, it's fairly simple to learn how to buy display advertising in the first place. It's really hard to learn how to do it well. To buy display advertising, you sign up to any self-serve platform, Engage BDR, First Impression, Site Scout, something like that. You pick a list of sites, you upload an ad, you put in your landing page, you click buy, and you start spending money. But the good news is there are a lot of places to help make this easier. I'm not going to name any names, but there are places that provide competitive intelligence services like what we do to be able to tell what other people are doing and then learn from what they're doing. And there are a lot of affiliates that have become very, very wealthy buying through display, and there are a lot of merchants that have really boosted sales utilizing display as a channel. At the same time, you have to be careful because displays, it's really easy to spend a lot of money really quickly
fast.
and then not see a huge return.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to use competitive services to mitigate your risk before you start buying. So it would sort of be like jumping down a hole without knowing what was at the bottom of it. Is it, a pile of feathers, or is it a pit full of spikes? It would be really good to be able to look in there and see what's at the bottom before you jump.
Yeah,
That's
before
what
the arbitrage was all search, and now they're doing more and more of this media buying through these, networks. And I've seen affiliates burn money like a gas pump in both, especially media buying now.
So, sort of how I talked about, so a lot of people look at what we do at WhatRunsWhere and say, well, you guys are just a service for people to come and rip off other people's ads and run them and do all that kind of stuff. And you can absolutely do that, and you might make a little bit of money doing that. That could be good for you. But the people that are truly successful as media buyers and that stick in this business and, are around for a long time, use competitive intelligence to gain inspiration. So they don't steal things one-to-one, but they look and they see what's working for other people, right? And then they integrate that into their own creative. So when you're looking at a creative, you would look at, what's the actual creative look like? What colors are they using? What images are they using? What do the borders look like? What's the call to action that they're using? So if we look at Travelocity and Expedia there, they both use book now as their call to action. If I'm a travel site, I might take a quick note of that and spin up an ad and test that. And then what's the ad copy? So what are the things that they're emphasizing? Is it, if you travel, is it our low fees, low rates? Is it no blackout dates? Is it the availability? Is it the exclusive destinations that we can hook you up with? So paying attention to what your competitors are doing. And what I would do is I take a little notepad and I just write notes as I go, and then I do a quick review. And through that I can have a whole bunch of ideas of what I should build into my own advertising.
It's interesting. I was just talking to an affiliate earlier today, and they said in media buying on arbitrage, you don't want to be number one, you want to be number two, and learn from number one, who spends all the money, using competitive intelligence. Number one falls into the traps, number two sees them.
Exactly.
And uses the assets,
well,
right?
Using competitive intelligence, you can mitigate your risk. There are some advantages to being number one, but it's a lot easier being number two or number three.
Yeah, a lot safer too, right?
Yep.
Wouldn't you say?
Yep. Yeah, especially if you have a limited budget. It's really easy to spend a lot of money buying display ads, so why not learn from somebody else who spent a ton of money? So using competitive intelligence, you can find profitable traffic sources from your competitors. So you can find, again, that list and find where people have been running their ads a long time, what sources are working for them. So if you see a place where they've been advertising a lot and they've been running for a long time, you might want to test that out on the placement side as well. So you can build a list of placements, and then a lot of these self-serve ad networks have a whitelist feature where you can just buy on that list of sites exclusively, or you can go to your managed ad network and request to buy on those sites, and they'll do your best to put them on there. We've gone through all this, so we'll just keep. This is something I already brought up, and it's important. Don't just track your competitive set, but track people that are targeting similar people. So if you're a diet affiliate, let's say, don't just track people in diet, but track people that are targeting the same demographic that you're going after. So if you know that you're going after women aged 40 to 60, what other advertisers are going after those same people, and how do they actually utilize their advertising, and how do they communicate with that audience? Because they may, again, have a different way of communicating. So again, this is just a screenshot of what we've done. So we've looked at Tripadvisor and we've looked at some of their top sites. And we see that a lot of what they do is direct placement, which is what media buy means, or through Google AdWords. But if we see something with a super high prevalence where they've been, where we give them a super high score and they've been running there for a long time, these are probably places that we'd want to test and run if I was competing against them. And what I can then tell from the source is where I actually need to go to buy that inventory. Do I need to contact that person directly and set up a deal, or can I go buy through an ad network? And then sort of the thing that, we'll always hammer in is split testing is important. So you watch large advertisers that they're smart do it. So for example, with TripAdvisor again, you can see 3 ads that are sort of similar, and some of them use the same images, but they have different calls to actions and different ad copy. So you figure out what works. Now what's important here is if you look at them and then you look at that in the scope of TripAdvisor has 10,000 ads. Well, if these are the best 3, what are similar between those? Is it the image that's used? Should I look for a similar image to put in my ads, or what can I pull out of that to pull into my own advertising?
And affiliates too, right? I mean, either one.
Exactly.
Like split test it
Yep.
all over the place.
If you're not testing, you're throwing away money.
Yeah.
And then same thing.
Yeah. I think we should probably go. I got the.
We got the 15-minute one.
Yeah. Do you want to go a little bit more and then
Yeah, we'll
do
just
questions?
just real quickly.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the details of this chart, but this is about popular offers. So one of the things you should be looking at is actually what's in the ad copy text of your competition. So offers is important, and you can see here some offers that are broken out. If you see an offer type that's persistent across your industry, then you probably should have it in your copy, or you're going to be overlooked. And then looking for ways to make yourself unique is important as well. And then we wanted to talk about product listing ads, but I think it's important that we get some questions in. So just quickly, this is just looking at how many of the keywords in each category have actually product listing ads running, and it's actually more now. This is taken from about 8 months ago. PLAs are really prevalent. You'll find them on pretty much every Google search you do in any retail category where there's some kind of commerce involved. It's because they're making a lot of money on them. Pretty images. They're at the top of the page. They take up a lot of space. It's an easy place for the eye to look at. Consumers are clicking. And then if you do AdWords, you can add phone extensions into your ads. When we did a study, we found that it's a very small fraction of the ads have actually used a phone extension service. It's under 1% here. It's a 0.1% actually use phone extensions. So if you have the ability to put phone numbers in your ad and actually take orders that way, it'd be a good way to set yourself apart.
So let's move to questions. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, those are good tools to use for finding keywords that competitors are using.
Wait, did everybody hear the question?
He's-
No, can you repeat?
Yeah, I'll repeat. So he asked about using tools like Keyword Spy. There's several. There's another one called SpyFu. There's several others as well where you can plug in a competitor's URL for free, and they'll pull back a list of keywords that those advertisers are advertising on. It's a nice way to get a quick keyword list to get you started. You shouldn't rely on it as your only method of getting keywords because you're looking at very short snapshots of data and time, and you really obviously have to watch it for yourself. But it's a nice get started and very inexpensive way to get started. You mean finding long tail opportunities using a keyword spy type of tool? I mean, that's definitely a strategy.
Repeat the question.
I'm sorry, so he's asking whether using long tail keywords is a good strategy. Long tail keywords are keywords that don't have brand names in them. They have several keywords in a phrase, 3 or more typically, or it could be like a SKU number or something very obscure. You're going to have less traffic, lower traffic volumes on long tail keywords than you will on higher volume keywords, and so you need a lot of them to actually have a successful campaign as far as making money. You might have a good return, but making $10 versus making $10 million is a lot harder with long tail keywords.
Other questions?
None of you guys know everything about competitive intelligence?
Uh,
You want to ask questions about me? I'm happy to answer things about myself too. No?
I would like to know how long it takes you to grow that beard.
About half a year.
Half a year.
I tried really, really hard, just rubbed Rogaine everywhere,
So, I mean, I think if you look at the data here, you start to learn that the frontier of arbitrage has passed just search. And it's walked now into the media buying world. And if you're in the affiliate marketing arena, you should be paying attention to what's going on in the media buying area, because that is taking more and more of the kind of revenue that we see as the largest agency in the world coming from affiliates. More and more of it is coming from media buying on performance. So they'll buy it and then arbitrage it out. So the data that is provided by Max here is really, really valuable, but it's really important to combine that with what you see going on in the search engines, because some of the media buying arbitrage that you're doing is coming from the search engine. So it's really important to look at where it's originating from and then look at the whole path. And some of the tools that they provide also allows you to look into it to see where it was originated from in case there was some traffic blending happening upstream. So that could be very helpful too.
The other thing that we haven't really talked about that's sort of important to go quickly touch on is the importance of mobile as it continues to grow. Who here buys mobile traffic besides maybe I clicked a box on Google or got it blended in? Do any of you buy on AdMob or Millennial or anything like that? So one person in an entire room.
Wow.
I mean, shit, you guys are
Seriously.
are the leading edge of sort of digital advertising and willing to try new things. So if there's one person in this room that does that, imagine going to a traditional ad agency or going to a traditional brand. It's still a new frontier, but there are competitive tools to go look at what's running there. We have one, and it's important to understand that, because as we go on, that space is going to become more and more important. The way that
And they're innovating new ways of doing it.
Yeah.
It started out a little immature, and it's changing now to be more part of your experience and less in your face.
I
So-
mean, we have our phones on all the time, and it's always with us, and it's a great way to deliver advertising, a great way to deliver a branded message. You just have to understand that a lot of what happens on mobile is accidental, meaning I'm playing Angry Birds and I accidentally click on an ad. So how do I capture the consumer's attention right there versus them bouncing off? And then how do I drive that back to either my merchant or myself or the person that I'm promoting for, and how do I actually generate revenue from those people on that device? And if you can spend a bit of time looking at that and figure that out now, there's going to be a huge demand for people with that skill set and people with that expertise, not only as an affiliate, but as an agency as well, because people just don't know how to take advantage of that channel.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's only one. Is there really just one person?
Or you guys are just shy?
Are you guys being shy? Seriously? Can we try that one more time? Is anybody else doing just one Wow.
I'm saying you're buying on Jump Tap or Millennial or through, as exclusive, like you would go buy media on a mobile network. If you haven't, I mean,
Holy-
this is sort of just,
Wow.
anecdotal, but take a look at doing it and take a look at what that means, because it's not that different. If you buy display, it's not that different than buying display, but can add huge incremental value to what you're doing and also your value to that merchant or so as an agency, if you can bring that to the table and nobody else can, you're certainly that much more important. As an affiliate, if you have a good relationship with your merchant and you can bring that to them and nobody else is really doing it, you certainly become much more invaluable.
At the risk of having that one guy who is doing it beat me up, I would say that that's a huge experience for the rest of you to explore. I'd get into that. Don't beat me up. Lori will protect me.
Any other questions?
Any other
comments?
questions for anybody?
No?
No?
Okay, well, we'll wrap up a little bit early because I know somebody else is going to come in
Yeah, we
and
have
want
to.
to do it, but we'll also be outside of the room here. And if you guys are just too shy or want to ask us something one-on-one, we're more than happy to stick around and have a chat with you about whatever you want to talk about, display, search, or otherwise, really.
Or his beard.
Or my beer.
Or his beard. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.